friends. So we are going to do our first actual just little cooking video of the Vlogmas series. I'm gonna just do more traditional this year. Usually it is, for me, Vlogmas is, I call it Treatmas. I share a different treat every day. And then I didn't really do many vlogs. This year I'm kind of going more like old school, but I am throwing in some just fun cooking videos, collabs, just everyday content. I'm just gonna keep it regular, I guess, pretty much, but just post every day until Christmas. So maybe beyond Christmas. We'll see. Typically I post Christmas Eve on Christmas, and then I will post Christmas Day like the next day or the day after, just because I do film those as well. I want to be able to share those memories with you, have them here for me, and I like them. So we're gonna take some Christmas tree cakes here and make, we got a whole box back here. This one's almost empty. We're going to make a Christmas tree cake, dirt cake for right now, but I'm also going to go back and grab the last two recipes that we shared, which was the cheesecake and the cake balls that I made with Christmas tree cakes, and share all of those because some of you haven't been around the entire time, and I wanted to share those. So this is going to be 3 Christmas tree cake recipes that you can use. One of the world's best, in my opinion, treats. Some people don't like them. What's wrong with you? Just kidding. Maybe. But share when you take one of the best and you just change it up, and honestly you just make it better. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to link the recipe down below, but I'm tweaking it because that's just who I am. Like, the recipe calls for Oreos. I don't have those. Well, I don't have the golden Oreos that I would want to use as a crust, and I've got some graham crackers, so I'm just going to make a butter graham cracker base, like a, you know, a pie crust kind of thing. Like I mentioned earlier, I will link this recipe down below. I will also link the other 2 recipes that we're going to be sharing, just because I'm going to walk you through it, but I'm also going to be changing things, especially in this first one, which I probably changed things in the other one and just don't remember it necessarily because it wasn't this year. But I did change this one. Like, this was supposed to have a golden Oreo crust, and I didn't have Oreos. I didn't want to have to order any or go to the store, and so I was like, you know what, I got graham crackers, I'm just going to use those. So that's what I did. I did add a little bit of honey to the butter as well. I wasn't sure if that would make it or break it. I don't think it made it any better, but it definitely didn't, you know, it didn't hurt it. So I did do that, but I also didn't have the correct amount of pudding mix because I had to use like a half of a pack, not a half, like a 2/3 of a pack that I had from Thanksgiving. But I ended up making it work out pretty good, and so it worked. I mean, it worked out just fine. So I'll have the recipe linked down below because I could never walk somebody through a recipe because, well, I have a really hard time following those. But I did make us one, and then I made a small one and gave it to my neighbor. I didn't finish hers like on top until I knew that I could meet up with her, because I was afraid that the green sugar sprinkles would bleed, because you know how they do. But I gave it to her, and she texted me, and she said that it was so good. So I'm thankful that she liked it. I was a little, with me making the homemade and putting the honey crust in it. Let's try that again. With putting the honey crust in it, I wasn't sure about it. I was afraid it might mess it up, but she said it was good. So hopefully she liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I was just eating some of it earlier, and John really liked it as well. So it is delicious. I'm sure it'd be even better, or it would probably be even better with golden Oreos as the crust. So if you want to try it, do it that way. I do think it needed more cake, even with as much as I added to it, because it just tastes like a vanilla pudding thing, and I like the Christmas tree cakes, so I wanted it to taste very cakey. But it was really good. Like I was saying, no complaints, just some things that I would tweak personally. Like, I took 2 cakes and crushed it up and added it to the pudding filling, and then I just took one and added it to the, like, on top of the crust, you'll see that, and then I just spread one on top as well. But I just think it needed a little bit more cake flavor. Maybe put whole ones in it. Maybe that would be enough, but it was really good, and I will make it again, that is for sure. And then this one is the one that actually surprised me. I wasn't going to make it. And I was like, you know what? We need to try it. I just thought it was going to be overbearing and super, super sweet, especially with like the frosting that you put on top. It's not. It's very light and fluffy and airy. I don't know if it's my favorite. I think the cake balls are just my favorite just because they're more of a classic. But this one was delicious. It really surprised me how good it was. And it ends up being a beautiful treat dessert as well. So if you want to make something and take it to a family get together or whatnot, and you want something to be a little bit, you know, to make it look like you put more work into it than just something quickly thrown together, I highly suggest this one because it is delicious. It's beautiful. And it's delicious. Did I already say that? I know I did, but sometimes it's worth saying twice. So I will have this recipe linked down below. Much easier than you would think, but it's a lot of steps. Not a lot, but it's quite a bit. You gotta make the crust. You gotta put some pies down. You gotta put the cakes down, and then you gotta make the cheesecake filling, bake it, let it cool, and then you gotta make the frosting. But I promise in the end it is worth it because it is so good. This was definitely one of my favorites. Like, I'm thinking I might need to make it again this year. But, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple recipe, though. If you know how to make a cheesecake, then you know what I'm talking about. It just is kind of time-consuming and uses a lot of ingredients and whatnot. But it's really good. The icing is what kind of threw me off, for frosting, whatever, because you have to use marshmallow fluff. And I was like, this is going to be so sweet. I'm not going to be able to handle it. And I thought about not even making it. But then it was one of those times I was like, no, let's try to stick with the recipe, which is rare for me. But I was like, stick with the recipe and just see how it goes. And I'm so glad I did because I really think that marshmallow fluff frosting is what took the cake, so to speak. Like, it is what really sent it over the top and made it super delicious. friends. And the last one, and I think this is my favorite because it is the most simple one and it's just delicious. And it's more true to the regular form of the Christmas tree cake, but still fun, is the cake balls or cake pops. I'm going to share both because the first year I done this, I made them into cake pops and they wasn't the most beautiful things, but they was okay. And then last year I made them into just cake balls and they ended up being more aesthetic in my opinion. And they're easier to make if you don't have to worry about the sticks. So I highly recommend just making cake balls and not worry about making cake pops. But I wanted to share both just to have the little throwback, especially since Nolan was in the one with the cake pops. And I am going to include that because he's just a little baby, even though it was like 2 years ago. Kids grow up way too fast, especially toddler years and teenage years. They just fly through and you look back and you just can't believe it. He will find me staring at him when we're out, like at restaurants and stuff. And he's like, why are you looking at me? And I'm like, when did you turn into a whole grown man? Anyways, so for this recipe, it's super simple. You just take the cakes, mix it up. Now, you don't even have to add the cream cheese, I don't think, especially if you use the big ones because there is so much icing in them. But I did add some cream cheese to it. And the big ones, I would add about 1/4 of a block. If you're going to use the regular size cakes, I would go with 1/2 maybe go with 1/4 and see how the consistency is. Because I don't like my cake pops super wet. And it can get a little wet, a little messy if you put in too much of it. Especially if you want to put them on the sticks, you need them to be more firm and sturdy. So if you're going to put them on the sticks after you get the cake mix and cream cheese mixture mixed up and formed into balls, you're going to want to freeze the sticks with a little bit of the melting chocolate. That way it helps hold it on and more secure. And then once them are nice and set up and frozen, I always add a little bit of oil to my melting chocolate. It just makes it a little bit more smooth and easier to work with. And then you're just going to go and get them all dipped in and then add on your sprinkles of choice. And if you want to do the signature red zigzag, which I pretty much have to every single time. It's just not, it's not a cake, Christmas tree cake, pop or ball if it does not have the red squiggles. They just got to be there. Only reason I didn't do it on the first one of the dirt cake was because I didn't have any icing to dye red, or I totally would have just threw on a little bit of extra there as well. So we're going to go ahead and get the squiggles on the cake pops. Going to get what Nolan thinks about them. And then we will share how they look and how to do them with just cake balls, which is just my favorite way. Favorite recipe, favorite way is definitely just the cake balls. It's a Christmas tree cake pop. It's made out of Christmas tree cakes. And you add cream cheese to it.
I thought it has like frosting.
What do you think though?
Good.
Good? Like them? And for the photos and from the front, they didn't look bad. They looked pretty good, but this way I do think ends up looking better. So we're just going to do the same thing. Just take a cake ball and don't put it on a stick. Just use 2 forks is what I typically do. And just cover it up. Gently tap off as much of the extra as you can get off, just so that it doesn't get super puddly on the bottom. And then you're just going to let it set up. Now, it sets up super quick. So you might want to do like 4 or 5 and do the sprinkles if you want the bottom layer of sprinkles like I did, because I was going for, like I said earlier, the more traditional cake, Christmas tree cake look. So I'm going to put the green on the white layer, and then once that was nice and set up, I'm going to take a little bit of oil and some red wax melt. No, don't do that. Some red chocolate melts, wafer melts, whatever. It's not actually chocolate. And just give it that signature, a red zigzag look on top, and they come out beautiful. And most importantly, they are delicious. Now, if you like to experiment with Christmas tree cakes and make different recipes, let me know down below what your favorite one is. Maybe it'll be one that I haven't tried and we'll need to try that as well. But with that, friends, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for hanging out with us. We will see you next time, which will be tomorrow. As always, remember to show grace, be content, and live blessed. Bye, friends.
Thank you.